Hi, friends and kindred souls. Welcome back to Sage Thyme. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad you're in this world. You are important and you are loved. You matter. So thank you for being here. So we've got a reading here that I was prompted to pull the cards in advance for and spend some time reflecting. And I'm really glad I did. It's all, of course, so beautifully synchronized and in symmetry with what's going on. We're going to take our time with this reading because slow and low, I'm hearing, patience and calm is what is being called for as a counterbalance to the energies that are going on around us. So, no matter when you find this, whether in the present time or in your own time, whatever that is, the this reading is really addressing external and circumstantial as well as internal feelings of chaos and upheaval, dishevelment. And so you'll see it in your external world, but it can also feel a lot like just intense mental just raw. What we've got, we still have this stellium as of today, April 20th. We still have this big stellium going on in in Aries. And Mercury is conjunct Saturn today as well as yesterday. Mars was conjunct Saturn, all in Aries. And in addition, we've got Uranus after the last, I don't know how long Uranus is in a sign, probably 5, 6 years, something like that. I'm forgetting for some reason. But Uranus is at the 29th degree, the anaretic degree of Taurus, getting ready to enter into Gemini in the next couple of days. And so that Uranus high voltage shake things up in order to bring things into a new higher level, higher octave, higher frequency order. Uranus is wrapping up its time in Taurus. And so it's bringing in the challenge in that 29th anaretic degree. So we're feeling it. And the cards are talking about it. And they're also talking about the solution and practical steps as well as reflective points that we can spend time with. And so we're going to cover all of that. Additionally, you may have, or may not have noticed, I did a reading before this that'll be posted before this one. And it's a ritual work with Archangel Michael. And it's simply designed to bring us more into our body and create that connection with the archetypal energies of Archangel Michael and that infusion of support within you and around you. So if you'd like to check that out before this video or after, and then again, it's perfectly wonderful however you do choose to work with it, but it's there for you. And it was very specifically guided that I do that despite my resistance. So we know. Okay. So right off the bat, the energies that are coming in that are really that we're experiencing is the Two of Swords in reverse. And this one talks about in reverse, and in this particular card, which is what we're going with today, this talks about that feeling of worry, that feeling of inability to hold and maintain that protective sphere, that sphere of light that allows only the good in and deflects and reflects the things that feel like and potentially are psychic attacks and or just high voltage chaotic and more energies, thoughts of other people, real, not only energy conglomerates, thought forms, if you will, that are floating around in the ether. Those are always going on. And especially when we have an upkick, like a stellium in Aries with Mars and Saturn and Mercury Chiron and Eris and Neptune, all just really, and the sun running their scripts while influencing each other. The sun is just now leaving Aries, but you can think of it and consider it like walking into a hall, a cafeteria, and it's empty except for you and one other character that you see repeatedly in your life, an archetype, if you will. And we'll say it's the sun. And so that other individual in this empty cafeteria is bringing a lot of energy and confidence. And because it's in a theme of Aries, it's highly self-identifying, highly, even sometimes can be a little excessive, but you know, they're your friend or they're your neighbor that you go to school or work with them or however it is, and they're a part of your community. No matter where you move, there is that archetype, there is that character in your life. And then you're sitting there and you're engaging and interacting with this sun, this self-identifying high energy confidence individual, and that's good. And then in comes Mars, a Mars archetype, Mars character, a friend with strong Mars, and they're in their own turf in Aries, and on their own they come in and they're like, yeah, I am Mars. I am masculine and I get done and I'm creative and I do my thing. And they come up against the sun being in their sun and they're like, all right, sun, you're kind of like boosting my mana here, and that's cool. All right. Now I'm a bit more so, and the sun's being influenced by Mars too. And so the sun's being like, yeah, you know, I'm really confident and I get done too. And they're both feeding off each other, maybe fueling each other a little too much, depending on how you may or may not be engaging too. Um, and it's excessive, but maybe not too much. And then Saturn walks in the room. In the room in the cafeteria called Aries, called self-identification and fire and fueling the fire. And Saturn walks in and says, it's this way, it's my way or the highway. And I'm going to put a squeeze on you because if you're not conforming within the set protocols of how we do things, when we do them, and according to how I say they am, then there's going to be some consequences, and I will enforce them and put as much pressure on you as I need to and want to when I want to because I say I want to. And all of a sudden, Mars and the sun, who are influencing each other, are like, what the? And the heat gets stronger. Now you've got Neptune and Mercury walking into the room. And Neptune just left her house of Pisces. And so she's feeling a little out of sorts, a little disoriented, but also feeling the ground underneath her and feeling her expansiveness kind of being forced into a simplification and a consolidation. And also feeling some big emotions of what was and what was lost and what had to be released, maybe what wasn't released all the way. And so she's trying to figure out how to digest everything she's been through. And Mercury's just got a lot to say about all of it. And there's opinions in every which way. And now there's judgments with Saturn there. And now Mars is a little pissed. And the sun is like, I'm taking over. And Chiron just entered the room and said, you know what? I have sacrificed everything for everybody here. And y'all are just making it about yourself. Now all of a sudden, we have a lot of influences in one house, and the cafeteria just got really busy and the energies are feeding off each other. And so this reverse Two of Swords is just this, I, my bubble, my protective sphere is not strong enough. And then out after that came the Eight of Swords in reverse. This is very Jupiter and Gemini, and it's that frustration, and it's even the confusion that comes with it. So if you're feeling this overwhelming sense of just what You're hearing all the opinions. Maybe you're feeling all the opinions because you are on this channel. So most likely you are somebody who is highly sensitive to some degree and tuning into or already have tuned into and I'm feeling you're somebody who's been working on this for a very long time, building up that energetic shield again so that you can filter through what you're ready to work with instead of having those fire hose blasts of psychic information of everybody and everything around you and the things that are attached to them, the programs, thought forms, energies, entities, however you want to consider them, the ancestral influences that are attached to them. Again, the ones that are around us that are doing things that are causing harm and or discord, etc., to ourselves and those around us, they do not know what they do. Even if they're conscious of it and there's a malicious intent, there are influences that are infusing them to follow that wheel. Does that make it okay? No. Does it require them to eventually have accountability and take accountability? Yes, most definitely. It's not up to us to do it, though. We have to, and this is in the cards a lot. We have to stay in our own sphere, work on our own self, and what's within us, work with that. Because as we strengthen our counter resistance to, say, psychic attacks or harmful opinions and verbal attacks and or oppressions, you know, the external world saying you don't have a right to set boundaries and say no to things as a woman, as a man, as whatever, to people who are just assuming they can mow you over with how things are because this is the way it is. And then maybe somebody else comes in and says, oh, it must be a misinterpretation. So they completely invalidate your knowing of not only your right to have boundaries and have them respected, but of your standing up for that right and saying in a very responsive, maturely responsive, not reactive way, I have a right to these boundaries, and then have somebody dismiss them and say, oh, it's not a big deal in one way or another. People can be clever, and the energies that are moving through them are even more clever. And of course, people will protect themselves because they aren't ready or don't want to break those programs open and be self-required to be accountable. This is the nature of nature. These are the laws and principles of the universe. And so when we're feeling this increased uptick, this upheaval of energies around us and influencing us within us, it's a sure tell sign that the system, another layer of the system, another layer of the program of that Saturnian, this is the structure and form and the program and follow the program and do it this way and you shall abide, subservient one. But we're not in that program anymore because that program doesn't work anymore. It worked, you know, centuries and centuries, millennia ago for survival reasons at the time that it worked and so forth. And maybe it only worked for a minute. Maybe it worked for many generations, but it doesn't work anymore. And not only does it not work anymore, those of us that are tuned in and doing the work and feeling all the things at high level octave, we're also getting and transmitting the information and co-creating with higher level beings the new programs, the new structures, which again down the road will be eventually broken down and made wrong and so forth, but it's what we're ready for as a whole, as a planet, as a human race, and all. And so it's a lot coming out. And so I can bring in this next card, the Four of Swords, that sense of disquietness, that sense of I can't find peace. I can't, no matter how much meditation and breath work and binaural beats in my headphones, or walks in the woods and grounding, or connections and prayers with Archangel Michael et al. I can't quite find my piece, or I have it for just a moment and then it slips away. And that being said, keep doing it. Keep doing it, because this is the gym workout. This is the next level, one day Olympic medal winner, triumphant training program. This is the higher level of training. And you're working muscles that have never been worked before, those muscles that you didn't even know you had, and you're strengthening the ones that you've already been strengthening. And to do that, your coach is increasing the weights. Your coach being your higher self being your future, more collective and advanced and powerful and wise, comprehensive self. A self that can travel through time and space and consciously connect with you, it's your former past self, and guide and support and bring in what you need through angels, through other realm beings, through your biological ancestors and your soul's ancestry. Wow, so much is being said. And I've got like choruses of echoes on both sides. The ancestors are going and the angels are going on the right. So, and the higher self is like, honk. So it's all here. It's all here. We're all connected. And I'm going to take a sippa. And so we've got Tigger here. Maybe that's you. And you're feeling that like tia double go and enjoy that inner laugh and glee and let it feel through you, and also allow your vessel to be as calm as it needs to be, to sway and soothe and pause and be reflective, and your nervous system will tell you. So stay tuned. Don't let you don't you forgive me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if we're not tuned in and we're not present to what our nervous system is telling us, and we're bouncy, trouncing, fun. The wonderful thing about Tigger is I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Sorry, it had to be said. We got to have that. And also, we've got to stay present while we're doing that. And that's part of the weightlifting here, staying present while allowing those intervals of glee and joy, glee and joy and movement, and then smooth and sway, and intermingling that into some sort of incredible intuitive dance. And while being present, being able to tell, like I can feel right now, I need to slow things down. My nervous system is just beginning to tell me that's enough. Bring it back in. But if I weren't present, I would keep going until it smacked me on the forehead, and then I'd be down for hours or days, even weeks, with an overshot. I'd blow my gasket of energy, basically. Adrenals would be kaput, and then we've got other kinds of physical things going on. So here we're working with our physical vessel, all its physiology, neurochemistry, biochemistry, endocrinology, and we're working with the energetic and subtle realms and the beings therein. And our job, because that can feel really complex to try to figure out, and the what, hows, and what tos, and whys, and whens, all you've got to do is keep returning to self, be present with yourself, love yourself, and listen and respond. And know that if you get it wrong, such a goofy word. I mean, I'm going to have decided just now in this moment, we're going to keep the word wrong, but of course we're changing the narrative. And it's like a comical gong, like banging on the gong. So whenever somebody insinuates or tells you, or you tell yourself that you did it wrong, and an old feedback narrative is speaking inside of you, I want you to imagine like that word wrong coming in and sounding like a gong, and just taking a giant mat. What is it? I had the word in my head. The stick with the ball in the end. Mad. Oh, I just totally lost the word. And banging on this huge gong, and it going wrong, and let it make you laugh. Let it be ridiculous. Like Now I'm seeing that scene in the Harry Potter movie when the armoire, they'd open it up and I forget what the thing is, but they did the spell ridiculous so it would turn whatever it was, Professor Snape all of a sudden wore somebody's grandma's ridiculous clothing. So whenever you feel yourself, an old program, or somebody else wronging you, whether to diminish your thoughts, your character, your right for a boundary, I want you to just imagine and feel yourself swinging that mallet at this giant gong and it going wrong, and then laugh. Thank you, Spirit. Yeah. So this is what we're working with. This is what we're up against. And this is the practical wisdom. Now I understand. An application that Spirit is bringing in. They're bringing in laughter. They're bringing in tears. They're bringing in the chaos. They're bringing in the remember to stay present and breathe and love yourself and nurture yourself. Hold yourself, reflect. And then break that up and giggle and gong the wrong bell to make it right. And sing the Tigger song, whatever it is. Wave your ridiculous wand and spell and dress up whatever that funky, nasty, mean, and naughty is that's in front of you, whether you can see it, hear it, feel it, however it presents itself, and just make it goofy. What a great piece of advice. Thank you, Spirit. And then another card that came out with those, like what we're being challenged with, is the Aeon card, and it came out in reverse this time, which talks about the word that they used is regression. And this is wonderful because that's that going deep within so that you can turn it right side up into the advancement. Going within and going descending essentially so that you can expand and ascend. The slingshot effect is how I've always seen it in my mind. Okay, so now here's the goodness that's coming. And these are the cards that first came out that I'm about to show you. And then I was shown that because I was like, wow, that's amazing. But I don't know that I feel that way. And then they brought all that other business I just talked to you about. So now we're kind of working our way backwards. We're walking it up. We're walking ourselves and the old programs that are dissolving and breaking apart, being sent back into the earth, the parts that we don't need and want. Back in my 20s, I built a barbecue, and I wasn't, still not, but especially then, I wasn't a fan of following instructions. So I just had all this giant box from the store of all these parts and pieces to a big old barbecue, and I just started assembling it, and I got it together and it looked great and it was magnificent. It was my first lesson at the age of 21 or 22 of there's a lot of parts left over and I'm looking to see if it's going to fall apart. Is there anything, and checking all the valves into the gas and everything like that. No, it was great. I followed my intuition and it came together perfectly. It lasted forever, years and years. And there were just parts that it didn't need. And that's what we're doing. We're walking it back. We're walking it up and we're leaving the parts that we just don't need because we're following our intuition. Our intuition says, stay connected. Stay connected within so that we can be connected to our soul's lineage, our I, my I. Okay. So I pulled a couple cards from the Sacred Earth Oracle originally. That's what started this whole reading. And the two cards that came out are dependability and fragments. And these are kind of tough cards for me when I saw them. And I started really feeling it, they elicited this, oh gosh, here come the tears. And I immediately thought, good, 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 good. But also, so those two came out, and I'm going to read from the book those and discuss anything more that needs to come through with you guys. But the two cards that came above and below it from the Spirit, the Patch Tarot cards, which is beautiful because what I just presented to you from Patch Tarot, those were some hard energies. Those, all these swords and then reverse. And the Aeon card, it was in reverse. We're going within. We're doing a dissension within. But here's what's coming from that. On the top, we've got light. A revelation, a whole picture, the story and all the dimensional layers of stories that are conveyed within the architect of sacred geometry. And if any of you have ever spent time with, and it's not even an intentional thing, if you've ever had sacred geometry present itself to you, you know that it just reveals itself in massive depth and spans of time information. It's incredible. And so that is where we're going with working with these cards, dependability and fragments. And then the other card that came out, I love this. And this one came out in reverse. It's the all card. And in reverse, the word release. So we've got reveal, revelation, and release below it. Isn't that beautiful? So let's read these two cards, dependability and fragments. And I'll hold these up so you can see them. Oops. Me and this camera. Excuse my nails, whatever. Here, I'll go like that. So I could pretend like they're not ridiculous. Ridiculous. Gong, wrong. Sorry. All right. So this card speaks about, well, it starts off talking about if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I don't super love that because it brings in an air of pessimism and a generation of not believing in the impossible. And we are right now in this era of I am possible. We're pulling in parallel timelines of ourselves. We're alchemizing the parts of those timelines that do not serve us, that we're limiting and or inhibiting and or traumatized, hurt, harmed, etc. And we're alchemizing those into energy that supports the parts of us that we are enhancing and developing. Whether we consciously know what it is that we're alchemizing into and creating within us, or we turn it over and open up to our higher self and divine design, that sacred geometry that is our shape of our highest self. So it's funny. Sometimes I say really cool things and I pause and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that because it's coming through me. So you are all the possibilities. And yes, it's important not to get caught up in an external guise, a kind of fox sort of medicine that promises something grandiose. It's also important to stay grounded and open in the knowing that it is possible. And it's the surrendering into whatever that is that comes with that inherent, that connection to that innate and inherent highest trust. That surrender is what delivers us into that impossibility. Again, we don't have to figure it out. We simply get to be present to it, love ourselves, and open up with loving reverence to ourselves, our more advanced selves. So this reads, dependability. Listen and respect all points of view, but in the end, you must be true to yourself. Put your faith in the great compassion of your heart and find comfort knowing that love is the greatest law of all. In the arms of Mother Earth, you can find acceptance, clarity, and beauty that you can depend on. The law of love is absolute. That is a really important sentence. So, in the universe, in the cosmos, and on this planet, we have principles and we have laws. And the principles support the laws. The laws aren't always principles, they're more governing. And the highest law of the universe, from my knowing, understanding, and experience, is love. It's the purest, capital L, love. And that's a whole big thing, right? I won't go into that right now, but my older videos definitely talk about it quite a bit. And so that's something we can trustfully surrender to. It doesn't always mean that leaning into that knowing and that highest law of love brings everything that we want and um, that we want right here and right now. It means it opens all the doors and starts laying down the groundwork of the pathway for us to move towards that, towards a life of living in the dance that is the song of the universe, a song called Divine Love, the Law of Love. So here's the little insight that comes with this card, dependability. Doink. There we go. Rocks do not levitate and planets don't swing out of orbit. I mean, but okay, we're going with this. Nature is dependable. In space and on Earth, atoms follow the same rules. Light travels at the same speed everywhere, be it from a distant star or the flame of a birthday candle. Water boils at 100 degrees. You can depend on gravity, the rotation of Earth, and that your forgotten coffee will cool to room temperature. Nature has laws it follows without exception. I'm going to put a little caveat asterisk right there. There is not one set of laws for the mountaintops and another for the valleys. Stars abide by the same laws as grains of sand. It is nature's loyalty to these laws that gives Earth the order it needs to support life. Outside of these laws is chaos and miracles. Before you accept a truth as absolute, put it to the test. Is it as true for the weak as it is for the strong? Is it as right for the rich as it is for the poor? The laws of the universe have no bias. We can depend on them regardless of age, wealth, culture, and status. So there's a lot of accuracy and a lot of truth in what I just read with that. And we want to focus on that, not the nuances of actually you can split an atom. Actually, planets do exit their orbit, all those different things, because that's a conversation about evolution and that's what we're up to. So we're holding the same space for yes and no to be true in the same space. And that's really profound and really powerful. And something's coming through with that right now. And that is the energy of breaking the mold, of breaking the pattern and bringing in the new. And it's a chaotic energy. So, okay, I see what they're really saying. It's not just about the old patterns and old constructs kicking back or fighting back. It's about having two paradoxical influences of Saturn, having the future, more advanced, next paradigm Saturn, which is more fluid and open and expanded and evolved. It's not simply a next version of Saturn. It's a next version, which breaks the paradigm of what Saturn represents right now, that conformity. And it is the way. And if you leave your coffee out, it will cool to room temperature. Yes, and you see where I'm getting. So I can see why this is important and why this card, less about dependability, but then also entirely about dependability, because these are principles. The archetypes are principles. There is still the law of love. And that law is, of course, ever expanding and developing, and yet it is always the same at its pure, true essence of intent. It is love. You are love. You are loving and you are loved. You are beloved. Okay? And no matter what is coming in or going out into that empty cafeteria of a space of influence, and what parts are we're releasing and what parts we're allowing to stay and integrate, maybe shift and alter a little bit, change its place in the shape of our design so that the design can be entirely different and convey an entirely new story, but not at the exclusion of the old, and yet also something entirely different. And while that can be so confounding in our minds because our physical cerebral cortex can only contain so much if we're working within the pathways of our neural pathways, when we quiet that mind and bring our awareness into more cosmic connecting portals like our heart, where there is no need to think and figure it out, but simply a space to hold space and love and tenderness and care and presence and support. When we're there, Jupiter Kitty says, yeah. When we're there, the rest can do its work. And the turbulence, the chaos, the storm around us, underneath us, within us, it's maybe not necessarily going to quiet during the time it needs to swirl and funk around and be a mess. But we can be at that center of the storm because our conscious awareness is in our heart space, not our mind, and not what's going on around us, not what we're doing, sending down into the earth. We're simply in our body and holding our I want to say thinking, but there's a different word that wants to come through. Holding our consciousness, like I said before, in our heart space as the witness without thinking. Okay, so we did get into that a bit. Jupiter's coming to say hi. This is a bit of a long video, but I know it needs to be. There was a lot of information that wanted to come through and support for all of us, and new information too. You gonna lay on all those clothes? Thank you. Thank you for supporting us and being here and bringing your magic. Okay, so last but not least, we've got the card fragments. And I'm going to go straight into reading that. This card has some beautiful revelations in it that were a bit inexplicable when I first read it, but I got to tell you, I read it in advance because I thought this reading, I was doing a reading just for myself. And it ended up being, this is for everybody in their own unique ways. Share it with everybody. But as I read it for myself, I had those ineffable, unknown spaces deep within myself, the crevices that needed to be heard and felt and grieve come out, and I wept. So I trust this will be right for you in whichever way it is. Jupiter, she's causing sass. I think she wants me to wrap it up. Here we go. So, a past or hidden event influences a current situation. Trust issues due to secrecy or deception. A childhood ordeal is brought into the light. Reflect on and draw your own meaning from it. Hold your broken self in a loving orbit until it is strong and beautiful once more. There are parts of yourself you are yet to realize. Take your time getting to know someone. The spiritual meaning speaks to beyond your thoughts, there is the mirror of infinity. It is a clear space through which you will see your true reflection. Here you can see your whole self, your shadows and your light. See that you are beautiful in and of it all. You have nothing to prove, nothing to hide. You are blessed and held in the loving field of the Divine Mother. And the insight here is, while Earth was still forming, it was hit repeatedly by planet-sized masses. These impacts caused pieces of the young Earth to break off. Earth's gravity field held those fragments in orbit, where they circled closer and closer together until they merged eventually to become our moon. Together, these fragments of our planet's younger self pull and tug at the water on Earth, influencing oceans, plants, climates, and seasons. The moon grows and wanes, holding us in awe as she catches and reflects the sun's light back to the world she was once a part of. The moon always shows the same side to the earth, and before humankind launched into space, her hidden face was a mystery. By unifying and shining a light on the fragments of our past, we recognize their influence on our present selves. Discovering what is hidden can be an epic journey. In reflection, we can find beauty in our most secret self. You are so beautiful. There's so much to this. And it speaks of gravity. I want you to recall something I said in a recent video that was spoken through me, that gravity is the effect of divine love's cause. And so the earth lost because she was pummeled by all these external forces, and she lost parts of herself. But those parts of herself stayed in her orbit because the gravitational pull that is a result of love. She, no matter what, loved herself. You, no matter what, love all parts of yourself, even the parts lost to you seemingly, forgotten, not seen or known. And so here we're talking about, at this time of upheaval and disassembly and chaos and dishevelment, going within, holding that space of, I love you, me. I'm here for you, me. What do you want me to know? What do you need me to know? And let that knowing come in, because holding that gravitational pull that is love by simply loving yourself brings in all those parts of our own self that we lost, that were taken from us, that were forgotten, neglected, rejected, or otherwise. They belong to you and they are beautiful, every part of it. The darkness is as beautiful and profound and powerful as the light. It's only when those two are imbalanced that one or the other or both become maleficent, not awesome, or deficient. But when we bring them into balance by loving and holding space, presence, and awareness, focusing on them, as long as it needs, it may take a long time to simply hold space for yourself, find a spot within yourself that is uncomfortable or chaotic or angry. You'll feel it. You can feel it. And simply bring that conscious awareness to that space and look it straight on. I'm here. Not aggressive, not imposing, not forcing change. I'm here. I love you. You are a part of me, and I'm here. When you're ready to speak, show, tell, express, I'm here, and I will listen and witness and behold you and love you no matter what it is. And it's amazing what blooms from beneath that bloom, what is under the surface of that bloom, that central seed, that gem within all the expressions that come out, no matter how they come out. There's a gem at the center, something so nutrient rich, so life enhancing, so supportive to the next level of you and you becoming, and yeah, just simply becoming that. It's the rose hip in the dead of winter, full of just the most packed bioavailable and potent vitamin C and antimicrobials that came from the summer's beautiful bloom and expression. So I know that was a lot. This was a really long reading, and I'm so not going to apologize for it, because sometimes our readings are supposed to be that. Sometimes there's a lot to be said, and more so, there's depths and layers and processes to be felt. And as Saturn comes in and has always said, and continues to say, it takes the time it takes. But now the new Saturn is evolving and becoming into an archetype that says it still takes the time it takes, but we can travel through time more than just linear. We can travel through time in layers, in swirls, in cycles, in returns, and in collaborations of multiple times all at once. And the sirens are coming in to say, good on ya, we're done. I love you all so much. I am truly grateful that you're here in this space and in this world. You matter. Thank you for being here. Aho.